Hey y'all, welcome to my channel and welcome back to some DIY ornaments. For this ornament, I'm just going to use a 5mm crochet hook and a skein of yarn that I picked up at Dollar Tree, and then you'll just need a round ornament. I ended up using a paper mache one that's 3.5 inches, but any round ornament that you want to use is fine. So we're just going to start by crocheting a chain. And again, if you don't know how to crochet, there's plenty of videos on YouTube. I'll also have a learn to crochet video coming out within the next month. But it's a crocheting and doing this kind of rope-like that we're going to do is pretty simple to do. Now, the length that you'll need to make your chain is totally dependent on the size of the ball that you'll be wrapping this around. Again, my ball was 3.5 inches, and it took me 144 inches of this crocheted rope to go around it. So once I had my 144 inches long of chain, then I just went back through, starting with the first loop I had just done, and basically just doing a single crochet stitch all the way back to the end. Again, very, very simple crochet stitch to do. I'm not gonna, do a slow full tutorial here on how to do it. If you don't know how to crochet, you can kind of do this same style of ornament with some purchased rope or cording or something like that you buy in the store. But again, it took me 144 inches to wrap around my ball. So depending on the size needle you use, the size of yarn, stuff like that, that will also depend on how long that you need this, basically this rope to be. Once I got to the end, I just knotted it off and cut my yarn off right very close to the knot, and then we're ready to just hot glue it onto the ornament. Now, you can go ahead and paint your ornament to be the same color as the yarn or the cording that you're using. I chose not to. I'm just going to leave the paper mache ball as is. And I started at the bottom. You can start at the bottom or the top. Either one doesn't matter. You just want to do your best to find the center if you're starting at the bottom. Mine was actually a little bit off. So it wasn't quite even when I got to the top. But you're just going to use hot glue and basically glue your crocheted piece in a coil around and around the ball until you get to the opposite ends. You kind of want to hide your loose ends there at the bottom, at the end where you started, and then again once you get to the top. But as I said, if you don't know how to crochet or you don't have the time or whatever, you can definitely do the same thing with trim or rope cording or something that you buy in the store. And that will also depend on the look of your ball. You can go, fancy, metallic, anything like that. Once you get to the opposite side, you'll see mine's a little bit off just because I didn't start right at the bottom in the center. But you're just going to do the same thing. You're just going to keep coiling it around. Then once you get pretty close to the end, you're just going to cut any excess off that you have, and then kind of tuck and glue the ends in. Now, from here, you could add greenery, you could add a bow, anything like that. I chose to leave mine plain, and I really like the end look on it. For the next ornament we're going to basically dry some orange slices. I cut mine 1/4 inch thick and then laid them out on a parchment sheet on a parchment paper on a cookie sheet and cook them at 200 degrees for about 5 hours, rotating them about every hour or so, and this is what they look like. You want to make sure that you do kind of cut them all evenly, otherwise you get some darker, more burnt looking ones. I'm actually going to use some cinnamon sticks and then some wooden beads I had in my stash. And I'm just going to poke a hole through the top. I'm just using a little awl, but you could use a screwdriver or scissors or anything like that. And then some jute cord that I put some tape around the end and kind of cut it at an angle just to kind of help me thread it through easier. Once I thread it through the orange slice, I will then tie on a cinnamon stick. And you could do this with lemons, limes, blood oranges, any kind of a citrus fruit that you want. You could, paint your wood balls or red or use wooden beads to look a little bit like cranberries, anything like that. You could, instead of making them ornaments, you could just thread the jute cord or a string through and turn them into a garland, anything like that. Once I've got the cinnamon stick tied on, I'm just going to put both of the cords through the bead and then push everything down kind of snug, tie a knot at the top to keep everything from moving, and then go up a few inches and tie another knot for kind of the ornament hanger, and then cut off the jute cord there. These are super easy to make and fun, and they look gorgeous hanging on the tree or in a garland. Just really fun to do, and the house smells good while you're drying them in the oven as well. I loved the way mine looked on the tree. I kind of hung it with a light behind it, and it almost just looks like stained glass. It's just really pretty with the light shining through. For this next ornament, you'll just need, again, any kind of a ball ornament that you have on hand. I'm just using a clear plastic one because that's what I had. You're also going to need some white acrylic paint. Mix it with a little baking soda to give it kind of a pudding texture. And then I'm also going to use a pick of lamb's ear that I picked up at Walmart for about $1, and some jute cord. And you just want to do a thick coat of white paint all over your ornament and let that dry completely. Mine just took one coat because I put it on really thick. And then just separate your lamb's ear leaves and start with the largest ones first. Glue those around the top of your ornament. I didn't overlap them at all. I kind of just butted them up next to each other, gluing those around. And this took less than one pick to do, and I used kind of a bigger ball ornament. So again, very inexpensive ornament to make. Once I had the big leaves glued, then I went back kind of in the center of each where the big leaves touched and glued a medium-sized leaf in between, and then from there glued the small leaves. Now, I did not glue the bottom of the leaf to the ornament. I just left them kind of free floating, but if you want them glued down and kind of look like it's wrapped around the ornament, you can definitely do that. You can also add, again, some greenery or a bow, ribbons, anything like that you want, just depending on your aesthetic. I wanted to leave mine just kind of simple and natural. So I didn't do anything but just the leaves. You can also paint it a different color. You don't necessarily have to do white, but again, that was just the look that I wanted. The baby or the small leaves are the final leaves to go on, and you just kind of place those kind of in between the other leaves, so everything's kind of overlapping and staggered. And then I decided I wanted to kind of cover the metal ornament hanger at the top. You could paint it if you wanted a different color, but I just decided to use some jute cord and kind of hot glue it and wrap it around the metal of the ornament. Again, if you're going to put some different kinds of greenery around here, or ribbon or something like that, or again, just paint the metal, you could definitely do that too. But a super easy, inexpensive ornament to make. You know, you can thrift your ornaments, your round balls, or use some old ones that you're tired of to give them some new life. And, you know, depending on the size that you want to make, will depend on, you know, the amount of leaves that you use and things like that. But definitely a nice, simple little ornament that you could put on the tree, or, you know, hang in a garland, anything like that. I think it actually took me longer to glue the jute cord around the top of the ornament than it did to actually glue the leaves on. And I burned myself in the process, so, you know, be careful when using hot glue. But again, I hope y'all have fun DIYing some ornaments, you know, bringing some new life to maybe some ornaments that you already have, that you might be tired of, or maybe you've changed the theme that you're decorating in. You don't have to spend a lot of money making beautiful ornaments, and, you know, making some that really appeal to your design aesthetic, and match the decor and the colors that you decorate with. You could definitely do the same ornament, but change out the greenery. Instead of using the lamb's ear, you could use little pieces of pine or holly leaves, or something like that to give it a different look. Maybe use an all-white kind of pine snow pick and make your ornament all white. You know, definitely totally different things that you can do to customize and match your decor. So this is how both of the balls turned out. The crocheted one I thought looked really good, and the pups had to come around and give them a good sniff. And then my lamb's ear kind of rustic ball, I think, turned out really nice too on the tree. Just gave kind of a nice and natural, simplistic